Hello, welcome back to Market Terminal. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have you once again.
Yes, good to be here.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Now, Vice President Kamala Harris was talking about not coming to do something for Africa, but working with Africa. She is of an African descent, African American descent, just as you are. How critical is investment from the diaspora to Africa? How crucial is it? What exactly can they contribute to Africa's development?
Well, interesting enough, the diasporian contribution is critical to the advancement of Africa. When we go back and look at the slave trade and that enterprise between the years of 1400 to 1900, we saw a major decline of economic power leaving Africa because of the slave trade. And fundamentalists, economists have all agreed that one of the greatest reasons why Africa remains underdeveloped was because of the slave trade. And so now that the slave trade has been abolished and Black Americans or Americans of African descent now have the opportunity to be a part of the labor force of the United States or of their westernized countries that they are residing in, we have an opportunity now to kind of make up the great loss that was attributed through our exit of Africa. Now, when you talk about the diasporian contribution, we have to kind of define what is the diaspora. Technically, the diaspora are people that have migrated from original countries of residency, and has gone abroad. But when it comes to the history of Africa, we kind of have to include another definition of diaspora. Yes, we do have a large amount of people, especially from Western Africa, that has left Africa and has made the West their home through choice. And they are the first tier of the diasporan definition. But then you have families like myself who were taken out of Africa years and years ago, not by choice, but we are still from this land, even though most of us have not returned. It is evident that we are from this land, and we also are counted as a second tier of the diasporian descent. So when you're talking about the contributions of the diaspora, we must be very specific, because both of these communities have very different philosophies and psychologies when it comes to the African investment. So to answer your question, the contribution of the diaspora is critical because the Africans who have migrated and the Africans who were brought without choice have contributed so much to the Western civilization, through inventions. Most of the inventions in America were invented by Black slaves. And then the diasporan community that migrated have gone abroad, they have studied, they have become educated, and they play a very vital role in the economy of the West. So yes, if we can get them back, most definitely the African diaspora contribution is critical.
Now let's look let's look from your angle, the African American descent. From your end, we've seen after the year of return celebration in Ghana, 400 years celebration of the abolition of slave trade, we've seen a critical mass coming back home, like you. What is actually driving you to Africa to do business?
Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I can say that there is a mutual sentiment that Africa belongs to us. Africa belongs to Africans. Africans, whether you're born here or whether you migrated from here or whether you were brought away from here by choice, Africa belongs to Africans. And I don't think that we can really move forward as a people in the United States, as a community, the African American community, until we make peace with ourselves. First, when it comes to Africa. The African psychology in America for the African American is very troubled, you see. It's a very troubled psychology. Number one, we were told for years that Africa was a very bad place. We were indoctrinated through television, through media, through all of the resources that the white people of America could use to indoctrinate us, that Africa was not a place to go to. So being raised in America, we never really saw Africa as a viable place. We saw it as it was represented to us. But in recent years, because of social media, because of the internet, images of Africa can no longer be hidden, you see. And so the awareness of the beauty of Africa is now reaching the psychology of African Americans living or diasporians that were brought over from the slave trade. They're now beginning to see that Africa is definitely a viable place. Now, when it comes to business, Africa is an emerging economy. And because it's an emerging economy, it is a great soil to invest in, to plant your seeds in order to reap an abundant harvest. I, for one, personally, I love Africa because Africa gives me a level of peace that I cannot experience anywhere. I've traveled to about 38 countries in this world. And I'm telling you, the peace that I get from being back on my own soil, the soil where my blood began, is warming, is comforting. And the idea that I can now play a part in redeveloping or contributing to the development of Africa gives me great joy. So for many Pan-Africanists in the United States or in the Western countries, this is a great, great zeal that we have to see our efforts, our finances, our FDIs coming back to the soil in order to build up these nations. We have done such a great job building up their nations. I think it's time we build up our own.
Fantastic. So technology is what is driving a lot of our development out there. From what you said, how crucial or how critical is technology so that we can leverage and not, crawl and can run and perhaps catch up with the Western world?
Well, technology, as I said, is a very, very important factor. It is because of technology that we were able to become exposed to the viability of Africa again as a world community. The world is looking at Africa. The world is looking at Africa, and they're looking at Africa through the lens of technology. We are seeing such a vast, vast push of foreign investments, foreign countries, China, Russia, America, trying to fight for France, Germany, fighting for the soil of Africa. And that viability, that openness is because of technology. Technology must drive. If Africa is going to reach any of the benchmarks of the government's goals, development goals, we have to look at technology. Technology must become our driving force. And unfortunately, we are lagging behind that. We are not as advanced as we should be. And so we must begin to take technology very seriously. Interestingly enough, when President Biden back in November sent to Congress a promissory note of $100 million in investment to Africa. When Vice President Kamala was here this past week, these few days rather, they said that about 86 million of that will be gone through in the next 3 years. When I looked at the proposal that the White House was putting forward for this 10-year promise and this 3 years promise, a lot of that is in technological development. They are partnering, example, with the Africa Free Continental Trade Area, which is located here in Accra, the Secretariat, which is located here in Accra, that connects about 1.3 billion
market size.
Yes, it's a wonderful thing. And so they want to leverage women and youth entrepreneurs. And they have put technology as a requirement in order for that package to really, really push through. And so we must embrace technology. We must begin to think technological if we're going to have a real voice moving forward in the global economy.
What should governments in Africa do? Do you want to reach out people like you who are in the diaspora? I'm talking about the second-tier diaspora, to come back home with your FDIs.
Well, I might get in trouble for this answer here, but what troubles most African descent people that were brought without choice to the West is the political instability of Africa. I'll take, for instance, bonds. You know, back in 2017, a lot of African countries were issuing bonds. Bonds, which is one of the safest investment vehicles available. Ghana underscored tremendously with their bond. Kenya underscored tremendously with their bond. Nigeria actually oversubscribed with their bond by 130%, which is amazing. And so other countries that rolled out a bond program really failed in that program. And why is that? Something that should have been safe, something that should have been a no-brainer for anybody, the government failed. That plays a very great lesson that people are not trusting the government. People are not trusting the local government political machinery. And so government needs to become more transparent, number one. More transparent. They must become more innovative in how they are attracting the diasporan investment. Ironically, when I was going through the website looking at Africa before I came here, I didn't see anything in West Africa except for this president's tooting for the return. But outside of that, there was no other country saying, listen, come back, come, we want you. We have allowed certain things to work for you to come back. And so we're not doing a real good job painting a visible picture to the diaspora that Africa really is a great investment opportunity.
You've been here for quite some time now. What does the youth in Africa need to become the kind of entrepreneurs that will become, I mean, we are in the fintech space. People are talking about we are not unicorn yet. We are struggling. From what you've seen so far, what can be done to help change the work ethics of the average African entrepreneur, and then to pass it on to the next generation?
When it comes to what can motivate the young people, personally, what I have noticed over the course of the 4 years that I've been coming through and fro Africa is that government does not really look at the youth as a viable contribution to their economy. That is one of the most dangerous positions to make, as Africa currently is over 60% youth. And so we cannot escape them. They need to know, first of all, from their parents, from Big Brother, from government, that there is space for them. And that space must be invested properly in education, which is lacking tremendously. Education is lacking tremendously, and the education that is available is archaic. And so we need to look at what the young people need to do in the future, provide those opportunities, provide those so that they can trust their government, trust their land, begin to love their country again, and begin to mentally and psychologically change their mindset from leaving Africa to remaining in Africa and being a player in the contribution.
Thank you very much, Bennett, for your time.
Yes, thank
it's
you.
It's a pleasure talking to you.
Yes.
I think we need to come back again and we look at technology.
Yes.
What some of you guys are doing to help propel the development of Africa.
Oh, it'd be my pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So this is how we wrap up today on Market Haven. My name is Edward Nyako. God willing, we'll come your way again tomorrow. Shalom.